We are back. Amunga Hanyalabandu is here.
Yes, sir.
My boss keeps on trying to pronounce your name. And he has been failing, seriously. But he's trying.
He's trying. Hanyalabandu. Just like Kiswahili.
Anasema hiyo jina inamaanisha nini? Nikasema nitakuuliza one day. So tell me anyway.
Yes.
New school burden fees for parents. Yeah. First, kuna story ya school fees, of course.
Yes.
Pre-pandemic, there was a a subsidy given by government, imetolewa. Yeah. Then now there's the issue of universities where they are saying they want to triple fees.
Yes.
And they are citing, and they are citing economic hard times. Now, there's no problem with the economic hard times, but let me tell you something, even as you are right here. Yeah. Recently, even in my own place, my landlord was talking about hiking, right? Akaniambia unajua pesa nini? I told him, by the way, let me tell you something. Where I'm earning, no one is talking about hiking. Income is not...
It's going up.
It's not going up.
Yeah.
Expenses
are going up.
You talk whether schools,
whether
landlords, because KRA is now coming after them, so they need to pass the burden to consumer. Whether it's issues of Nini, and then we have maids, people who they usually sell to pay school fees. They're also having that struggle. Of course. I mean, how do we balance this situation out? Because the consumer is not getting any relief.
That's true. The issue is this. This is what's going to bring restlessness in the country.
Yeah. Do you realize we don't even have a jam anymore in the morning?
It's no longer there. You don't see the vehicles much.
Yeah.
In fact, the only time you see some jam is a few days towards the end of the month.
A few days. Kuna kama ka 7-day period.
That period, yeah.
Pesa inaingia watu wanaendesha.
That window break, just a short time. Then after that, we are back to the normal. Mama Mboga is thriving. As the good thing about the Hustler government is that it's true Mama Mboga is doing business. Because people are eating mboga. People are eating mboga, I'm telling you. Kama ni mboga
tunakula.
Hiyo tunakula. Hata kama na hiyo GMO, we are eating mboga. But what I want to tell people is this. The issue of schools in a country like Kenya, there are three major issues. Food security is number one. When people have food, they are okay with you. Number two is health. As long as you are healthy, you are okay. You will not make a lot of noise. But health comes also with another thing called food. So you have to eat to be healthy. Where I come from in Luyaland, we don't live to, we eat to live. As we eat, we came to eat. We were born to eat. So mtu kama mimi kitu ya kwanza ni chakula.
Yeah.
So once there's no food, already there's a problem with the government. Utaanza kulaumu serikali. Then the third thing is education. Education affects every family in this country.
Yeah.
Everybody has got somebody somewhere in school. You may miss to have somebody in hospital. You may miss to have somebody somewhere, having a problem with. But school, you will have. So when the school issues are not clear, we in Kenya Kwanza, we signed an education charter with the president, the current president, William Ruto. That education charter, we outlined...
Easy charter mmeweka happy, by the way.
That is now the things people are asking us. We signed the women charter.
Where are your charters?
We signed the disabled charter. We signed the education charter. I was part of it. Wilson Sosion, my friend, was part of it. The current PS for education, already they've not been vetted. It's called Belio Kipsang, was with us when we were writing this charter. And everything about education, we thought about it seriously. And I'm telling our listeners, everything that went into that charter was properly thought out. You saw the president going around signing the economic charters. Those are some of the things that we did also for education. Those things were not a joke. Money went into it and brain. We spent man-hours in Naivasha writing the education charter. Up to now, as I talk to you, as a member of Kenya Kwanza, we are yet to start implementing even one item of the education charter, apart from one that we will form an education a task force to review. That one we have formed. And it's going on well. We are told the report will come out the moment the president lands back from Korea. For that one is okay. But everything we talked about, free education, what we talked about, employment of teachers in a short time, what we talked about, opening up TVETs and giving more funding to them, we can say maybe it's still too early. But for the Kenyan eye, they don't expect you to stay that ask them to give them time. They want to see action. They want to see action now. Wakenya wanangoja kuona. Can we see those universities starting to look like universities? Even the issue of CBC, we are starting to see some backtracking. Because Kenyans expected almost an overhaul of CBC. They expected to see a big change of CBC. But the little leakage we are getting from the task force, and Kenyans are reading in the newspapers, is suggesting that CBC will be retained with a few modifications. And so Kenyans are starting to say, then what was it all about? Because they almost thought it would be a whole review, a change of the whole thing.
But see, they're saying they're doing public participation.
Now, the views they gave.
When did public participation?
We were there. We have given our views. I have been there. We have given as teachers unions, we have given our views. But what we are also seeing is that it's like our views are reaching a place whereby, and this is something very important that our viewers and listeners must hear. We are not controlled just by public participation in this country. We are also controlled by donors. Donors have a big say
on what happens.
What happens. Even this issue of GMOs. Don't imagine it's Moses Kuria speaking. Big American companies are involved that are doing the seed production. When you saw Bill Gates here at the State House, he didn't come here to take tea.
No, he didn't.
He didn't come here to buy Mamboga Marikiti.
Some of us, we know his history well. We say, well, yeah.
So what is happening is that World Bank has a big say in CBC. CBC that we are talking about has World Bank connotations. They are the ones who fund education in this country. So when you talk about education, they're telling you, we want you to have this kind of curriculum.
But you know what I always say? For many of these answers, if you follow the money, it will take you to the destination. However, there are always hurdles with following the money. You see, like today, let me quote The Nation today. It's talking about the source of like tons of grain. Mongia kusu our donuts. This is now about the maize. It says the agencies handling the 10,000 tons of maize that arrived at the port of Mombasa have distanced themselves from the consignment with scant information being shared. In other words, the source of where it has come from is unknown.
It's hidden. And those are the people who play the games, who call the shots. Whoever has brought in that maize,
you know,
you will not know him.
So you say, well.
You will not know him. So, and that's what I'm also telling Kenyans even about the education system. Don't imagine it is your public participation alone that matters in this issue of education. We have other world players in it. We have people who fund these systems. They are involved and they are thinking for us. We have think tanks in those countries. In fact, our education systems are tailored towards our former colonial masters. That's why in Kenya, English is a compulsory subject. Agriculture is not. Kiswahili is not. What is compulsory is English. Ask yourself why. And those of you who are in that public participation, how many of you told the people in the education sector, we want to make agriculture a compulsory subject and not English? Nobody. Because English, the people who fund, we have something called British Council here in this country. We have got the French Cultural Center here in this country. They are the people who fund those education programs in this country. They determine what is taught to us. That's why we teach in your schools Latin history, European history. We teach about the British monarchy. It adds no value to us, but we teach it because we are told by our former colonial masters we must teach the British history, the monarch, the queen. You saw when she died, how all of us, even including you, went live. Because those are the people who fund us. We are still... Kwame Nkrumah, no, Julius Nyerere said, tulipata uhuru wa bendera. Uhuru tulipata wa bendera. Lakini uhuru wa akili.
Ulituepuka.
Huo nao hatuna. So when you see our president running to Korea, our president in the last, you are saying it's barely 2 months. But in those barely 2 months, I can tell you the president has visited Britain, has been in the US, has been in Korea right now, has been in Egypt. He has been in almost 10 countries.
DRC Congo.
He has been DRC Congo. He has been in Uganda. He has been in Tanzania. He's not going there because he's going there to take tea. No, he's going there because Kenya is not an island. We don't work as an island.
Too, by days
he was in Ethiopia. What the president is doing, he's trying to see how to play around this issue of us and the regional blocks around us. Nowadays, politics is not about what our parliament in Nairobi says. And that's why you saw there was a lot of hullabaloo about the Iyala MPs this year around.
Yeah.
Because nowadays is not.
I was going to bring you there. In fact, I was saying, I hope time is issue. I have to ask you about Iyala. Because, you know, one of our friends who used to come here a lot, Amingia Iyala. Karobia was my guy here.
A very good boy.
Yeah, I'm very happy for him.
A very great boy. A wonderful boy.
I was inviting him, telling him, you know, come back.
Yes, and you know, this show made him.
Yes.
You know, this show made him.
It did.
He used to come here and you will give him airtime. And that's
but you know, he was afraid to come. Juicy, I called him. I told him, come, we congratulate you. No, when he got.
Oh, after he got.
He told me, Mamo Bado Moto.
Bado Moto.
Do
you know reason?
So tell me, is it really, are there cracks or is it sibling?
You have come very well.
Sibling rivalry.
What is happening? I am personally.
What is it?
I am in Kenya Kwanza. And in Kenya Kwanza right now as I speak to you, Musalia Mudavadi is meeting all Luhya elected leaders, and especially those in Kenya Kwanza. Because he wants to meet them to discuss their way forward as a bloc. Because they are feeling that they are being left out. Yeah. The Bungoma election has brought a lot of undercurrents. Because the Bungoma election, there's somebody called Mavonga of UDA. Mavonga is getting proper support and even funding from UDA. And you know, UDA is our senior partner in Kenya Kwanza. But this seat was left behind by Wetangula, who has become the speaker. And Wetangula and Ford Kenya gave Kenya Kwanza a lot of votes. Wetangula in his own, when he went for the homecoming of the deputy governor of Bungoma, in a home area somewhere in near Mount Elgon. Sorry. What happened is that Wetangula promised the people of Bungoma, I will talk to the president. We'll only have one candidate from Kenya Kwanza. And that will be Wafula. Wakoli. Wakoli was a PA to Moses Masika Wetangula. And so Wetangula imagined that he will not have opposition from within Kenya Kwanza. So ANC pulled out a candidate. Because ANC also had a candidate, but they pulled out. But Kenya Kwanza affiliate called UDA has insisted on having.
Yet there is a strong man.
There is a very strong person from Ford Kenya. And Ford Kenya contributed the speaker to the.
I'm saying yet on the other side there's a strong man
waiting
in the wings.
Now Azimio have settled on one person. Azimio have all talked and come up with one person who is DAP. That's Wafula Wamunyinyi. Wamunyinyi is a very strong candidate.
No pushover.
He's not a pushover. He has been in politics in these games for long. Simply meaning, it is very easy in Bungoma right now as I speak to you for Wafula Wamunyinyi kupita katikati yao and win and take a seat that was meant for Kenya Kwanza. Because Kenya Kwanza are not agreeing.
And for him to replace the speaker, it would be a slap in the face.
It will be a big slap, and I want to tell you, it will be an earthquake in Kenya Kwanza because there will be a lot of aftershocks that may bring about some divisions, what you're calling sibling rivalry. And that's what we are seeing also in Mount Kenya. The mountain, and your friend whom you have just mentioned to me, I worked with him personally. We were with him, and he's a strong member of UDA, and a young man for that matter.
Yeah.
And everybody expected that because of his youth, and the way he has served,
and his vigor,
he was going to win, to be given the ticket for Iyala with UDA. When UDA MPs met at State House to vote and come up with the people who will get this seat, they left him out. He was not on the list. It took the deputy president and all MPs from the mountain side
to say no,
to meet somewhere and say, Kenya Kwanza have denied us our person who was to be this minor, Karobia. And again, on the other side, again in Jubilee and Azimio, Kanini Kega
was having a
hard time. They had replaced him. They wanted to give Fatuma Gedi. So it reached a place that people from the mountain said, tutawachwa nje hapa. Tusipojipanga.
Mambo kando, let's look at ourselves.
Now let us look ourselves as people from the mountain. Do we have the numbers? Yes. How many MPs do we have? Who is now our leader? They called the deputy president, who is also the deputy party leader of UDA and the deputy president of this country. And he met them and they agreed, all of you will vote for two people first. Kanini Kega, irrespective of his party affiliation, and Maina Karobia, who already had been rejected by Azimio. And thank God the two of them.
Maina got a lifeline.
They got a lifeline. Because of now regional bloc. And that is where now, what you are saying, the tectonic shift in Kenya Kwanza is this one. The regional blocks within Kenya Kwanza right now are starting to fight for their shares.
Isn't that interesting that, it comes that, it is not that political interests are always the #1 thing on the table.
It is what,
regardless of party, regardless of affiliation.
It is what's killing us, Levi. What kills us as a country, and what Moi said when he was about to leave, he was saying, siasa mbaya, maisha mbaya. The problem that we have as a country is we rely so much on the politics of the day. Politics controls almost every sector of our life. That kills us. That stops our economy from growing. That stops everything that happens around us. I was saying on a certain show earlier today that the problem we have even with the ministers is because some of them are in the political world. They're not coming in because they're professionals. When was the last time that you saw a professional teacher like me being made a permanent secretary or a minister for education in this country? We've had Matiang'i, we had the late Saitoti, we had Mtula Kilonzo, we had Professor Kaimenyi, we have had all those people, but none of them was ever trained a teacher with BAD. Today we have a minister for health. My own sister from Western called Susan Nakumicha. Nakumicha, I know her, she has never been anywhere near medicine school. Never. She has never been. But because of her role in politics of Kenya Kwanza and Ford Kenya, she now has a position as the Minister for Health. She's not there because she's a professional.
Yeah.
Politics comes into play. Look at the education.
You think it'll ever change?
It can't change. Yeah. It can't change because we as Kenyans depend, politics is our lifeline. Our constitution again is aiding it. You see even the vetting that we saw in parliament of the ministers. There's nothing like vetting really going on. The politics already had determined who becomes who, and that's final. The only thing that can save this country from the strong political world is the judiciary. But now we have to make sure that our judiciary is very independent. If our judiciary is independent, it will be able to tone down the political tones. BBI was a very big political tone, but the courts were able to tone it down. So what can only save the country right now from a lot of political rhetoric and political interference with every sector in this country is the judiciary. We are asking the judiciary to step in very strongly.
Thank you, my brother, for coming. What do you tell the guys who are having hope, feelings of, are we really going in the right direction?
No.
What would be your...
No, let's not give up. Let's not give up on William Ruto. William Ruto is a person who has grown up from, as he puts it himself, bottom up. William Ruto has the goodwill of Kenyans. When you listen to him and when you sit with him, he has the goodwill. He has the know-how. He knows what to do. Anytime you sit next to William Ruto and listen to how he speaks, he knows what he wants for us as Kenyans. What will tie him down is the politics part of it. And that is what is the biggest problem in our country. We Kenyans, let us give William Ruto time to settle down the political temperatures first. Let him settle down the proof of the mountain and the votes they gave him, the Somali nation, the coastal region, the Luya nation, the Mlembe nation, all the parts of this country. Let him settle them down first politically. Then from there he'll be able to work. I tend to think that is the only challenge he'll have. Settling the political temperatures first, then now embarking on the work. I believe he has the right, he's in the right direction in terms of even these trips he's making all over the world. These trips seem to be a way to get a footing that this country can be back on the right track.
I hear you. Amunga-Gorvanance, the man whose name is difficult to pronounce. I need to teach people Vizuri. And you say the man from Huisero.
Huisero, Humsalaba.
Humsalaba. I know the place very well. Very, very well. Humsalaba tunajua kabisa. Thank you for coming.
Thank you, sir.
And wish you all the best. Let's keep talking, because these discussions we must keep on having. It's a good thing that we're in that political dispensation where people can begin to even ask questions earlier on and say this way, that way. It's good. It's good for the country. That's all we have for today. Stay tuned for Leah coming up with Ilosu, and have a wonderful, wonderful day.